One of the main reasons we looked at teat seal was because our cows are fully fed through the dry period. We found they were bagging up too much. They're getting sort of 13 kgs through the winter. We found as they approached calving the last week or so, they actually start dripping milk. This was causing mastitis and big problems with perhaps 10–15% of cows we were getting in that had calved, had multiple mastitis in their quarters, and it was causing a lot of work in the shed, and subsequently our cell count was always a little bit high to start with in early lactation. The teat seals definitely stopped that, and we're having a hassle-free early lactation. Our dry cow policy has been just to blanket dry cow the whole herd. This has been good in protecting the cows through that initial 3-week period after they've been dried off, but it hasn't protected the cows at all, I haven't felt, during the calving period. So the addition of teat seal to the dry cow has been very beneficial, just plugging those quarters up. The cell count has been up to 50,000, and at calving time that's down to about 120–130,000 this season. In the past we've used over 100 bottles, sounds a lot, but 100 bottles of Thailand through the season on mastitis. This season to date, we're almost at Christmas, and we've used about half a dozen, 4 to 6 bottles of Thailand, which has been a huge saving to us, not having to jab cows and the expense associated with dumping milk and so forth. In regard to our rising 2-year-old heifers, this season for the first time we used teat seal on 220 heifers, Frisian heifers. We try to grow them out to over 500 kgs at calving. We wanted them to do the herd average the first season, so a consequence of that I think is that, again, they're well grown, fed properly through the dry period, they bag up, and we've been having in the past big problems with heifers coming in with bad mastitis, and the associated problems with treating 2-year-old heifers in a shed, putting tubes up their teats and having to jab them when they're new to the system has been a big problem for us. Probably losing 4 or 5, 6 quarters out of those heifers through mastitis. So this year we teat sealed the entire 220, which was hassle-free. We just ran them on 10 at a time onto the rotary, and they were very quiet, just stood there, and teat sealed them, and no teat damage, no teat end damage, and I think we had 1 quarter out of 220 heifers that came in this year, had a very mild case of mastitis, which we may have missed, I don't know, but they were all healthy and no mastitis. By teat sealing the cows, we've found that our bulk somatic cell count at the start has been lower than usual, thus those cows don't need drying off in March, April, which has been a big benefit to her. We've got options of extra cows, or we don't have to cull too many cows and buy them back in at another big financial cost. Cows at $2,000 a head is a big financial outlay, especially if the somatic cell count has crept up and they have to be killed because of it. So teat seals fixed our problem in that respect, and it's allowing us to milk our cows for over 300 days because they start with a good healthy udder and cell counts in control, which is one of the main problems I think of farming, is our cell counts get too high, milk gets downgraded, and as we get through to the autumn period, it's a real effort to keep it below 400,000, our grading point, which is where Fonterra will start grading you for your milk. So keeping that cell count low for early part of the season has been beneficial.
We bought the farm 2 years ago as basically an open paddock and developed it, and ended up with 250 effective hectares of milking platform. Through the first year of lactation, we developed 70 cases of mastitis, which was quite concerning to us. as mastitis can prove quite costly and a drain on resources, staff, time, and basically just sleeping at night. So our vet suggested that we try a product called Teat Seal, and like anything that we're bringing onto the farm, I like to get as many testimonials as I can, and found my next door neighbour which was using the combination of Teat Seal and Orban and dry cow therapy and had pretty good results. It was just a small cost more than what we were using already, and so decided to run with it and see how it went for us on this particular farm. The results were quite outstanding. We ended up taking our mastitis problem in our second year from 70 down to 40, and we still want to improve it better still after that. Mastitis generally takes up quite a bit of time in the shed, stripping cows out, and then we have a cost of $7 per treatment of an extra quarter. There's not enough room for mistake at 200, and once a day is generally not an option in case we go over the 400 mark. We found with the use of, when we used Teat Seal in our second year, that our somatic cell count is generally hovering around about 130, 140. On good days we can get that down to close over 100, on a bad day it might pop up to 150. So this sort of came out and unexpectedly hit us, which we're pretty happy about as well with the use of the Teat Seal. As we're still in the development side of the farm and in trying to improve on cow numbers, last year we didn't really have an option of culling any cows out of the herd. Basically, if they were pregnant, they stayed. This is going to give us a far better tool to be able to use for culling. With the somatic cell count of hovering around about that 130 mark, that we generally don't have to cull cows out because of somatic cell count, which leaves us the option of culling other cows for other traits that are not suiting our farm. One of the big ones is feet. If a cow is continuously coming in with sore feet, then obviously she can go. We have a goal, a target that we want to reach to within a 5-year plan, and to get there we're going to have to make sure that we do a lot of things spot on the farm. With the help of the Teat Seal and reducing the mastitis case as well as the somatic cell count, we feel that's one part of the operation where we don't have to spend a lot more time developing. It's already been set, done. The cows get treated with the dry cow and the Teat Seal, and then from then on it's just basically bringing them in and getting them milked through.
We're currently low order on 670 cows and also 50-50 on 400 cows. The herds are both spring calving, so they calve down in the wet, and we dry them off in late May in the wet as well. We've found with our cell count running between 260 and 300 on the larger herd, this year with using Teat Seal in a shorter acting dry cow, it has dropped to 210, which has cleared up all our strep stuff. The smaller herd is currently on 300, 330, it has now dropped to 110 under the same regime. We're finding some huge benefits to this, and long may it continue. We found, like most farmers, we were a little bit sceptical about using Teat Seal, but we found one of the benefits we have had this year, especially in one herd in particular, with it growing and now peaking, we have the ability to cull cows on mastitis through less cows getting it. So we now believe that this will be an integral part of our farming operation in years to come. We had the fear, like most farmers did, inserting 2 tubes, but in conjunction with the local vets, they sent out 3 techs, which became very relaxed and very hygienic in their approach to inserting these tubes, and it was hugely beneficial. To do one herd of 500 cows, it probably only took 5 hours, which has been a huge time saving for us, with the staff not having to strip cows all the time, and also not treating cows, which can be a huge time, up to an hour in the shed after milking, which is huge in a busy time of the year.